Frankenweenie, directed by Tim Burton, with the voice talents of Catherine O'Hara, Martin Short, and Winona Ryder, to name just a few. When I saw the trailers for this movie, I thought to myself, it looks good, probably not going to be a great movie, but it most likely won't suck. This is Tim Burton's best film in a long time. This movie goes to prove something for me. While I do not think that Tim Burton's live-action films, all of them, are shit, what I do think is that he belongs more in the animated world. His animated films are really his stuff. He's really good at animation. It seems like that's his home. With live action, what it seems more like is that he's just putting his style stamp on a story that people know and love. And for some people that's not a bad thing, you know, some people love his live action films and that's fine. I mean, I don't hate all of them, but to be honest, they're not the best things ever made. With animation, it seems like he really knows what he's doing. The characters seem to be more like him. They seem to be more relatable to him, and that's where he succeeds, is that when they relate to him and he can emotionally get involved with the characters in the story and not just say, okay, I'm gonna make my version of this, it works a lot better. And the story here is great. You have a young boy, a very smart boy, Victor, I think, and he uses science to give life back to his dead dog. It does become a bit ridiculous by the end. It becomes something of a monster movie, and certain events do not come full circle. There's a lot of talk in the beginning and middle of the film about this science fair, and all the kids in the school are trying to outdo one another. And that's great. We have an event that we're looking forward to. All these kids are trying to outdo one another. What's gonna happen? Who's gonna win? In the end, there's no science fair, and that's not really fair to the audience. If you create a story around some event and then don't follow up on that event, that is just, that's not good storytelling. That aside, the film does look very beautiful. It's entirely black and white, which at times you think about, at times you kind of just let it pass because you're involved in the story and the characters and you just forget about that. Burton did a fantastic job directing this movie. He does really good camera angles based on the genre, beautiful camera movement, and simple but effective transitions. The voice acting is also very good. But I would have liked more diversity since multiple characters in this film are voiced by the same people, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it doesn't really give each character their own identity. The pacing was pretty consistent. I wouldn't really say I was ever bored, but there were times when the story slowed down and then things sped up again and became more exciting. One thing, among others, that didn't make a ton of sense in this film is how in the beginning we see the main character, Victor. He's a filmmaker. We see that he has made a film. He's showing his parents, and Sparky, his dog, is his main character. That never happens again. Instead, we get this other kid character who we see throughout the film, but we never really know anything about him. He's just there to be there. He all of a sudden starts carrying a movie camera around, just shooting really just exciting things in his mind, just like making a monster movie. If that had been Victor, that would have made sense because we established him as a filmmaker in the beginning of the film, but when you have this kid all of a sudden doing it instead, that makes no sense. You do not swap character traits in the middle of a film unless you have a really good reason. Otherwise, you just don't. But all the negativity aside, I did think that this was a good movie. I enjoyed watching it, and I think that if you are a Tim Burton fan, especially a fan of his animated films, then I think that you will no doubt like this movie. So I'd say see it in theaters if you want to, but you can see it in 2D. The 3D I felt was tacked on. There were some really good moments where the 3D was like there and you could tell, but for the most part, 2D's fine. I'm gonna give Frankenweenie 3.5 out of 5 stars. Thanks for watching.